It really is great to see so many wonderful faces here because I know it's the first day for Oahu people that they're released from uh, in
lockdown.
So I couldn't even think of the word, it's just been so long. But we really do appreciate you all coming out to help us celebrate the Rotary Foundation leading up to Rotary Foundation Month. So much going on. We tried to put together a program that was going to be interesting to all different levels of people, to introduce you to the Rotary Foundation, but mostly to try to inspire you to do good in the world. Did Dell manage to come on the call? Okay, well, I'm waiting to see if Dell comes on here. Let me just briefly
join the meeting.
Just briefly explain what we're going to do. So the first segment is going to be a recorded message from our past RI president, Ravi Ravindran, who is the chair of the Rotary Foundation at this time. And then he was going to come on live, but you know what? It's 3 a.m. in Sri Lanka, and we're going to be totally crazy about it. So he put together a special video just for the people in District 5000. And then after that, Jeff Cochran, our annual giving chair from zones 26 and 27, is going to come on and talk about, so Ravi's going to go over the why it is that the Rotary Foundation is important. And then Jeff is going to talk about the what, some of the workings of the Rotary Foundation. And then if we can get through our technical difficulties, we may have a how, wonderful video of some of the we've done in the district. If not, the technical difficulties stay on there, then we're going to have a little chat about how it is that we make the foundation go forward.
Okay, Laura, Dell's on the call now.
Okay, so I would like to introduce our past district governor from 2015-16, who was Ravi's district governor, who's going to tell you just a little bit about this fantastic, amazing man before he speaks. Go take it, Dell.
Sure. It is my honor to be able to introduce Ravi Ravindran. Ravi is the CEO of a publicly listed company that he founded in Sri Lanka with a worldwide clientele in the tea packaging industry. He's also the chair of the board of trustees for the Rotary Foundation. As Laura mentioned, I had the honor of serving as your district governor the year that Ravi was our Rotary International president. As you might recall, that was the same year that the Rotary Club of Honolulu and District 5000 celebrated 100 years of service with Aloha. Our Rotary theme that year was Be a Gift to the World. Not only was Ravi a gift to us in 2015, when he brought his wife Vanity to Hawaii to help us mark our centennial year, but he's continued to be a gift ever since. As our communities around the world grapple with a new reality created by the scourge of COVID-19, we're fortunate now, more than ever, to have Ravi on our team. Hit it.
My dear friends, I recently read in the Wall Street Journal that at a meeting in the WHO headquarters in February 2018, a group of scientists debated which of the world's most frightening epidemic diseases deserve the greatest attention. Ebola, a killer disease that drains its victims of bodily fluids, made the list. So did Nipah, which makes the brain swell before most of its victims die. As did SARS, which affects the lungs and leaves the sick gasping for air. At the end of the two-day gathering, the group topped the list with the most terrifying entry of all. They called it Disease X. It was meant to capture what scientists had warned about for decades, an unknown pathogen with no known treatment or cure that would likely originate in animals, jump to humans and start spreading silently and quickly. Scientists couldn't predict the precise genetic makeup of the pathogen or when or where it would strike. But they knew it would come and even picked locations where such a virus might originate. They had ideas about how it might begin infecting people and how easily transmissible it could be. They even had plans for how to detect and stop it. But when the disease did come in the form of COVID-19, it caught governments, businesses, public health officials, and citizens completely flat-footed. They soon found themselves battling an invisible enemy with few resources and little understanding. Over 28.5 million have been infected and nearly 1 million have died. The equivalent of 400 million jobs have been lost worldwide, 13 million in the US alone. Global output is on track to fall 5% this year, far worse than during the financial crisis, according to the IMF. But I must warn you that based on research in 84 countries, an MIT report states that things can actually get worse. Frightening thought. Finding a vaccine is the only answer. Politicians, of course, around the world say that a vaccine is imminent and inevitable. This may give people unrealistic beliefs about how soon the world can return to normal. But I would suggest, and I have warned the folks at Evanston, that we not get our hopes up too soon, for if you think that immediately after the vaccine is found, it's the typical Hollywood ending where everyone lived happily ever after, you are wrong. The painful truth is that we are not returning to a pre-COVID-19 world, and that recovery is a long way off, and at that, not likely to be smooth. The bigger issue is that countries that manufacture vaccines, and wealthy ones that do not, are already competing to lock in early access. It would have been better for the whole world if there was an international, enforceable commitment to distribute vaccines globally in an equitable and rational way. Rotary would have a major role to play in such a situation. If this was not enough, in your case, you are besieged with serious issues called by the wildfires in the West, hurricanes in the Atlantic and on the Gulf, floods hampering agriculture in the Midwest, even as droughts and heat waves have grown longer and more common across the Southwest. The recent addition we made to our areas of focus by including the environment will allow us to focus in a small way to alleviate some of these issues which are caused by climate degradation. Nonetheless, this is the world in which Rotary has to operate. And we cannot simply wish it away and hope things were different. The Foundation's own response to COVID was swift and impactful. We awarded 210 COVID-specific disaster response grants for $5.2 million. And we awarded 260 COVID global grants for approximately $14.2 million, making a total outflow of nearly $21 million in a matter of weeks. Many grants were processed and awarded in days. Staff did a fabulous job. In fact, world over, I must say, the philanthropic response to the COVID-19 pandemic has been phenomenal, and at least $10.3 billion has been donated globally by May 2020. On the one hand, it augurs well for Rotary, which relies on philanthropy-minded people and entities to raise its funds. On the other hand, the virus has also affected Rotarians, and therefore Rotary itself faces unprecedented challenges. Many Rotarians have lost their jobs. Some have even succumbed to the virus, many friends of ours. In fact, as I said, I lost my closest two friends in India, and another was past RI President Louis G.I. Many others have been subjected to having their incomes slashed. Many businesses of Rotarians have seen substantial drop in revenues, and some are struggling to meet their recurring costs. In this situation, the two factors Rotary International and Rotary Foundation depends on most for survival are at stake. I am referring on the one hand to membership, and on the other hand, contributions to the foundation. And in the normal circumstances, both these could and must suffer. But Rotarians are not normal people. Indeed, history shows that Rotarians are a curious breed. Rotarians in general are visionaries, an idealistic lot that dream big and dream of a better world. At the same time, we are resilient and able to withstand challenges that others might succumb to. For example, in 1919, when the Spanish flu hit us, just after the World War I, membership actually increased by 19%. In 1921, when the recession struck the world, membership increased by 26%. In 1957, when the Asian flu hit us, membership increased by 3%. In 2009, when the swine flu hit a great part of the world, there was actually zero increase. But annual giving to the foundation went up 20%. However, there is no gainsaying that the trustees of our foundation do have an onerous responsibility of steering our foundation at this most challenging of times. Leadership matters most and is most challenged when people face independent threats, when customary ways of working are no longer possible, and when confusion and anxiety overflow. During a crisis, leaders must make tough choices so that their organization can survive in the short term and thrive in the long term. And one of the tough decisions we made with great unhappiness was to eliminate, for the moment, the 50% match to cash for next year. The problem is that our global grants have become so popular that we have now become victims of our own success. For example, 2013-14, there were 868 grants at a total value of $47 million. In 2018-19, there were 1,403 grants at a total value of $86 million. So while contributions increased by 10%, global grants increased by 80%. We have reached the point that annual contributions are just not keeping pace with demand for global grants. Not surprising, since nearly 20% of our clubs do not contribute to our annual fund, an unacceptable situation. You are one of the star regions of the world. You have the vision to see what others cannot. The problems, the potential, the promise, and the purpose. Apart from annual fund, which drives our World Fund, you are the ones who can see that we have to raise enough money for polio and be able to take advantage of the Gates match. I mean, it makes business sense when $1 is matched by another $1 from the World Fund, and that $2 is doubled by Gates to make a total of $6. And speaking of polio, you are the ones who can equally play a significant role in the distribution of the COVID vaccines if we can make such an arrangement, and we must. After all, we are better equipped than anyone else to do so, thanks to our polio experience. In fact, I must tell you that the polio infrastructure Rotary helped build is being used to help prevent the spread of the COVID-19 by supporting preparedness and response activities in many countries, just as the Global Polio Eradication Initiative did in the past to respond to outbreaks of Ebola, yellow fever, avian flu. In many places like Nigeria, Afghanistan, and Pakistan, polio staff are tracing contacts and testing for COVID-19, combating misinformation, and sensitizing health professionals on the disease. So you see, the nature of the business we do has not changed. We are still reaching out to people in distress, except that our methodology by which we do it needs to change. Our process of preparing and delivering the projects needs to change. The way we communicate what we do needs to change. Public health emergencies like the coronavirus can bring out the worst in people, but it can also provide inspiring examples of people choosing to be kind. We want to belong to the second type. Situations like this also reveals the most unlikely heroes even in Rotary. I watch 4 or 5 stations on TV every morning when I'm in the gym. One of them is CNN, the Indian one, NDTV, BBC, Bloomberg, and one of the Middle Eastern ones. I was surprised one day when I was watching NDTV, the Indian station, when the announcer suddenly talks about the issues in Mumbai, the number of deaths, lack of crematoriums, and then says, thank God these people from Rotary came, Muslims and Hindus working together, and they never normally do that, working together, lifting bodies and putting them into the crematorium, makeshift crematorium. And I was amazed. I mean, it's something I would never have thought of doing. I'm making speeches, but here are people right down there at the crematorium working together. You see, there lies in each Rotarian a passion that only needs to be awakened. All great achievers in Rotary have this passion. And even in these difficult days, this is the type of visionaries we need to harness. This is the passion that we seek to awaken. Sure, all our ideas may not work, but our passion will have a tremendous impact. I want to give you an example. Back home in my country, 2 of my close Rotary friends, Abbas and Ajay, were over a drink talking of the situation in our country of children with mental health issues. You see, 20% of Sri Lankan children were affected by disabilities. 1 in 93 have been diagnosed as autistic. As in other developing countries, cerebral palsy affects 2 to 5% of our children. In a situation like this, we could only shrug our shoulders and criticize the government. We are very good at criticizing our government for not doing anything about it. But the passion that we were generating got the better of us. We could visualize a properly equipped center to treat children with such disabilities. So the right people were spoken to, and they became partners to the project. The University of Colombo made available the land. The Sri Lanka Army built the premises in 13 months, and we had 2 major cash infusions of $1 million each from the companies of my friends Abbas and Ajay. Rotary made available equipment from the Rotary Foundation global grants totaling about $350,000. But building and equipping was easy. Sustainability was the key in the long term. A deal was negotiated with the Faculty of Medicine of the university that they would absorb all the operational and maintenance costs. They would provide trained professionals in the field of disability studies and take care of initial screening interventions altogether. In turn, they got a $5 million, 42,000 square feet center of absolute world class. A complex to operate from, a complex that would equal anything you have in your country. The center already has registered outdoor patients, children, nationwide numbering over 5,000. All of them provided with services free of charge. It's a remarkable project, the type of project that our new programs of scale launched this year would deal with. So I ask you to be hopeful. And don't forget, we will be measured on our ability to handle the current adversity and uncertainty. I know it's easy to say. I know it's going to be a challenge. But remember, viruses are not new. The plus point from this one is that when the next one arrives, we will surely respond better than what we did in 2020. Rotary itself will be better prepared to handle such a calamity. In fact, we have already learned a lot, and amongst all the service organizations, we have handled the situation much better at World Headquarters. So this is the reality now, and we will face up to it. But as someone said, what use is our worry right now? Worry is like a rocking chair. It gives you something to do, but never gets you anywhere. You know, a Persian king once called his wise men and asked for a coat that would make him happy when he was sad and make him sad when he was happy. When they told him the coat, he was so impressed that he had it inscribed on his ring. The quote was very simple. It said 4 words, "This too shall pass." This too, my friends, shall pass. We have gone through similar crises before, and we have come out of it. I'm sure we also will in time with this one. A couple of months back, in only her 5th address to the nation, in her long 69-year reign as monarch, Her Majesty Queen Elizabeth II closed her remarks with the eponymous line from Vera Lynn, who just died recently at the age of 101, from Vera Lynn's best-known song, "We'll Meet Again." We should take comfort that whilst we may have more still to endure, better days will return. We will be with our friends again. We will be with our families again. And we will meet again in person, either in your home or mine. Thank you.
Well, I hope all of you enjoyed that as much as I did. Yeah, tears still come to eyes, but we will get through this and we will meet together again in person. I have faith. If there are questions, you may put them in the chat, and Ravi has promised that if there's anything that we can't answer locally, which he has faith that we can, but otherwise, if there's something you wanted to direct straight to him, then feel free to put that question in the chat and we will get an answer back to you as well. Okay. So keep that message with you. We were asked whether or not this would be available so that people could use it for club visits. And yes, we can put that recording up separately. The entire presentation today is going to be on the website, but we can also put Ravi's 18 minutes up separately because it is a great link for a club meeting. I think possibly he had something like that in mind. Anyway, so thank you very much for asking that, and just watch the District 5000 Foundation page on your website for that. So our next speaker is Jeff Cochran, who is our annual giving officer with the Rotary Foundation, who works closely with zones 26 and 27. He's part of a whole team within the foundation who apply giving trends and data analysis and connection to empower Rotary leaders to acquire, retain, and upgrade donors, fund more grants, and create a strong pipeline of philanthropic support for the Rotary Foundation. He has a lot of years of experience in philanthropy. He is always available to us, and he is going to share with you a little bit about what the Rotary Foundation is. Jeff, please join us.
Hi, everyone. Good morning. Aloha. I am here in Evanston. I live and work here, as well as being at World Headquarters. It's really nice to be with you. District 5000, really pretty much since I've become an annual giving officer, has been one of my favorite districts, filled with some of my favorite Rotarians. But it was early on when I had one of my first travel assignments with Rotary as an annual giving officer. I attended Far West Pets, where I first met District Governor Naomi and DRFC Laura. And I knew I was amongst giants when I went up to the hospitality room that night. I think it was Saturday night. And they had Director Jarita Solari and then Rotary International incoming president, President-elect Holger Kanak, dancing the hula amongst all of the boozy Rotarians. And I loved it so much that I recorded it, and I still have it on my phone to this day, and I show anyone and everyone I can, all of them dancing, because it made such an impression on me. It was such a highlight for me that I will never ever forget it as long as I work at Rotary International and the Rotary Foundation. So thank you so much for giving me the opportunity to be here with you and give back just a little bit of some of that joy that you gave me that night, because that will last me a lifetime. It's really nice to be here with you all. Thanks for giving me a quiet hour with you, because I have 3 young boys running around this small apartment we have here, yelling about Star Wars and Pokemon and God knows what. So the fact that I get to talk about the Rotary Foundation with you all is a real joy. Let me pull up my PowerPoint here, and I can share some slides with you, and we can get to work. I know that District 5000 has come a long way, especially in recent years, to promote the foundation and to give as much as you do to Rotary and the Rotary Foundation, which we always appreciate. Thank you all so very much for all your dedication, hard work, and service. And I'll just get right into it here. One of the biggest reasons why we're able to meet here this morning instead of in person is due in large part to Rotary's dedication to Rotarians being people of action, and that fits perfectly with RA President Holger Kanak's theme for this year. Rotary opens opportunities, and it's never been more clear than in our presently quarantined world. I've had the sincere privilege of meeting some really just incredible people since I've been with Rotary, your company included, of course. Here's just a few of them. Working with zones 26 and 27, I was able to regularly drop in on Casper, Wyoming Rotary Club's weekly meeting for a while. And every week for 5 or 10 minutes, they have U.S. Senator John Barrasso, one of their representatives to Congress, drop into their club meeting and give an update about what he's got going on in Washington, which is a pretty incredible thing. When I travel personally, especially globally, I like to drop in on the local Rotary Club. Last calendar year, I took a vacation, a little personal trip with my dad and brother, dropped in on the Edinburgh Rotary Club when we were in Scotland, met the then club president, Katie Ridland, you see her pictured here, and their speaker at the time just happened to be the principal officer from the U.S. Consulate General in Scotland, Ellen Wong, just a career diplomat, just a really incredible person, has some amazing stories. And it was just an honor to be able to meet her and hear what she had to say. And then, of course, at the very bottom is me meeting Paul Harris at the very first Rotary meeting back in 1907 or whenever it was. I'm just kidding, of course. That's the statue we have on the ground floor of World Headquarters. If you ever come and get a tour of the building, you'll get to shake Paul Harris's hand just like I did. And I highly encourage you to do it if you ever get that chance. It's a great place to be, and we'll try to make you feel welcome. And then on the bottom right there, that's our entire annual giving team, plus a couple extras. That's me in the top Brady Bunch square there. And then all of the rest of the surrounding annual giving officers and a couple of the management team. This is the team that represents North America and South America, Canada, United States, and then of course, Mexico, and then a smattering of other South American countries in there too. I'll tell you a little bit about more about us in a little bit. But those are some of the incredible people that I've personally gotten to meet and rub elbows with since I've been with Rotary. This morning, we're going to cover a couple of topics in our short time together. First, I want to give you just a quick overview of the state of the Rotary Foundation with a particular focus on the annual fund. And then second, we'll review some tangible ideas to develop a strategy to promote and support the annual fund within your clubs in District 5000. But before I get into that, I realize that to many of you, I'm a new face. I've had the pleasure of dropping in on many of your clubs throughout the past few months, especially since we've gone virtual. It's really nice to see all of your smiling faces again, but I know that there's a group of you who still I have yet to meet. So let me introduce myself a little bit here. My name is Jeff Cochran, and I am the Annual Giving Officer for Zones 26 and 27, and by extension, your district. As Laura mentioned in my introduction, I've been with Rotary International for over 2 years, starting with Rotary's Club and District Support Team. Almost a year ago, actually a year ago this month, I joined the annual giving team supporting your zones. I have nearly 2 decades of experience working in the nonprofit sector with various organizations, boards, and committees. And as you can probably tell from my title, my focus as Annual Giving Officer is the Annual Fund. Inasmuch I'm a resource to you as Rotarians and volunteer fundraisers, I can help train, apply giving trends, and analyze data to help you empower Rotary leaders to support the Rotary Foundation. The Rotary Foundation has 7 total annual giving officers, 6 in Evanston representing North and South America, 1 officer in Delhi working with Indian districts, and then several other fundraising professionals at the international offices across the world. They are all also professional fundraisers. They just don't have the official title to be honored as annual giving officer, but they do act in a very similar way as we do out of Evanston. Each of us has one overall goal, and that's to help you realize the mission of Rotary International in your communities. If we drill down the Rotary Foundation's mission just a little bit further, another asset we have at our disposal when promoting the annual fund are our 7 areas of focus. Regardless of one's preferred cause, RI speaks to everyone's passion. Given the surreal circumstances we find ourselves in, I absolutely love that disease prevention and treatment is one of our primary causes. If you haven't heard by now, the networks that Rotary has in place to combat polio are already making an impact in the fight against novel coronavirus. And I'll speak a little more to that in a moment, but obviously this area of focus is paramount given where we are currently and can only serve you and your club well in your efforts to make an indelible mark in people's lives. Additionally, I'm incredibly excited to add to this the new 7th area of focus, which was just approved by the Board of Directors and Trustees just last month, actually just a few months ago now, and introduced after the virtual international convention. And Ravi mentioned this in his talk just a few moments ago. Supporting the environment is now gathering funding for grant activity, and these funds will be made available on 1 July 2021, next Rotary year. But as you all know, polio eradication remains Rotary's #1 priority. You may also know that Rotary's polio eradication effort began in 1979 with a program to immunize 6 million children in the Philippines. This program would eventually evolve into what we now call Polio Plus. The World Health Organization recently made the widely anticipated announcement that Nigeria, and thereby the entire continent of Africa, is officially designated free of the wild polio virus. We're working ever closer and inching ever closer to creating a world entirely free of polio. At this point, I want to take a moment and circle back to disease prevention and treatment, and more specifically, Rotary's approach to COVID-19 and the Disaster Response Fund. Countries with logistics in place to address polio are well positioned to combat coronavirus in several respects. Not mentioned here are the hundreds of clubs who are making a daily impact with the help of district and disaster response grants to alleviate the hardships caused by the illness. In response to this new challenge, the Foundation trustees have made available a total of $3 million in grants for districts and clubs to apply. These 120 grants of $25,000 each have been met with an unprecedented response. What's even more impressive is the outpouring of support from individual Rotarians who have given over $1 million to the Disaster Response Fund alone. Regardless of a Rotarian's passions, it's clear that the Foundation's impact is felt far and wide. That's due in large part to the tireless work that you do in the world. Our trustees are set some audacious goals this Rotary year to support this work even further. With a substantial goal of $410 million across all funds, TRF is nicely positioned to achieve its most ambitious year on record. Things have clearly changed in the past several months, and we can't be sure what this Rotary year will look like given the interruptions COVID-19 will undoubtedly present. But our leadership asked, and to date, Rotarians have delivered. If we dive a little bit deeper into the actual numbers, we'll see that there are some notable changes from last year. With 2019-2020's final unaudited totals reported, we do know that the annual fund was down slightly at 2%, and Polio Plus was up ever so much at 4.4%. Overall, we exceeded our goals. Additionally, with the endowment fund sitting at $92.1 million, we're trending toward an unprecedented goal of 2.025 by 2025. That's $2.025 billion in our endowment by 2025. It's cause for pause and celebration and is a major testament to the dedication of all of you and your clubs. And if you'll remember from my introduction, I've had a couple of decades working in the nonprofit sector, and I've worked for a few different organizations, a couple of different nonprofit entities. And I can tell you that I've never worked for an organization that's been so well positioned to even think about, much less actually work towards an endowment over $2 billion. It's really incredible, amazingly unprecedented. And it speaks so well to all of you Rotarians that you'll be able to carry out the important work that you do going forward, regardless of economic circumstances. So I applaud all of you for that incredible work. So there you have just a quick overview of where we currently stand in terms of our goals for the year. With that in mind, it's important to understand why people continue to give to the foundation in such significant ways. The impact of your gifts is clear, but there's one aspect that's sometimes easy to overlook. Everyone on our polio and philanthropy team are conscientious about your funds. We make an exerted effort every day to act as good stewards for your investment. With 92% of contributions going towards program awards and operations, there are very few organizations across the nonprofit sector who use supporters' funds as effectively as the Rotary Foundation. One more bit of data I want to share with you is the past trends in giving as far as size of gift. Oh, I think I'm missing, oh, there it is. We'll go back to that other slide in a second. My deck's a little out of order here. As you navigate the clubs in your district, consider the generosity of Rotarians who might be most willing to give. While our major donors are very appreciated and celebrated widely, it's these two giving groups highlighted here that drive the foundation's success. These two giving demographics are easily accessible by Rotarians and make an indelible and unmistakable mark in realizing Rotary's missions and goals. And just to point out one congruity across these two giving groups, you'll see that they correspond with that $1,000 and that $100 giving group, right? And I think the impact is clear. Those correspond with the recognitions of Paul Harris Fellow, Paul Harris Society for the $1,000 giving group, and E-Ray, every Rotarian every year, and Sustaining Member for the $100 giving group. Those are major drivers, and Rotarians respond really well to those two recognitions. So I encourage you to heartily promote those and encourage Rotarians to achieve those recognitions every year. All right, we'll go back one slide. There we go. We did it, everybody. We're getting through this. During our remaining time here, I want to give you just a high-level view of our most significant giving vehicles and recognitions. Clearly, District 5000 is already accomplished, and a giving culture is entrenched among all of you and your clubs. I'm so proud of the hard work and district leadership has and continues to put into supporting the foundation. As you carry the district's message back to everyone at your club, keep in mind that there are several simple ways to inspire your fellow Rotarians to give. One tool vital to reaching out our overall foundation goals is Rotary Direct. And at this point, it can't be understated how much of an impact Rotary Direct is going to have in the coming year. With so much disruption in our normal processes and the potentiality that traditional payment methods may become temporarily unavailable, for example, processing checks, which they actually did for a short time, become unavailable to us. Rotary Direct expedites your gift and ensures that it reaches your designated fund. Compared to last year to date, there are nearly 1,000 more Rotarians who have signed up for Rotary Direct, yielding a full 2% increase in donations. Rotary Direct is invaluable to our giving goals and will pace the success in meeting our goals for this Rotary year. There are several recognitions that apply to Rotarians that complement Rotary Direct and help your club members reach their giving goals. The first of these is Sustaining Member, which recognizes those Rotarians who give at least $100 in a year to the annual fund. Sustaining Member is easily achieved by giving as little as $10 a month through Rotary Direct. Similarly, Every Rotarian Every Year, or E-Ray, encourages all Rotarians to actively support the Rotary Foundation by giving $100 a year per capita in a club. Two more complimentary recognitions include Paul Harris Fellow and Paul Harris Society. A Rotarian will increase their PHF level for each $1,000 given, which works out to about $84 a month through Rotary Direct to achieve both recognitions. Similarly, Paul Harris Society simply asks Rotarians to commit to giving $1,000 each year to the annual fund, Polio Plus, or an approved foundation grant. These are three of the easiest ways to build strong individual support for the Rotary Foundation in your club. If you or your club is sitting on a large sum of Paul Harris points, another way to incentivize giving is to leverage these points to motivate even greater levels of giving through, for example, 2-to-1 points matching for every dollar given in a month. The possibilities really are limitless in this respect, but foster a culture of giving in a club or a district that endures. With these being the three most accessible recognitions available to Rotarians, it's equally important to call attention to Rotarians who achieve these milestones. I heartily encourage each of you to take time out of your club meetings to honor those who have achieved. Not only will the recipient feel the weight of their achievement, but it will inspire other Rotarians to give as well. Lastly, there's just a few additional resources available to you. My Rotary and Rotary.org host a wealth of information, and were covered a couple of times already this morning. In addition, my colleagues in the Rotary Support Center are still working diligently every single day to answer emails and provide some much needed clarification in these very oblique times. As your annual giving officer, I'm always here to help with anything you might need. And of course, you have each other. We're fortunate in Rotary to have an expansive, knowledgeable, compassionate community. It's more important now than ever to rely on each other for support, both individually and for Rotary. Inasmuch you have great club leadership teams to help you navigate the intricacies of Rotary and take action that speaks directly to your passions. I also invite you to get to know your district leadership when you have the opportunity. Thank you so very much for giving me the chance to spend some time with you this morning. Take care of yourselves and each other.
Thank you, Jeff. We really appreciate all of that information, particularly good ways that, that we can continue and be positive going forward. I think that's the thing that I've taken most from both of these messages, is that it's not a time for doom and gloom and everybody saying we can't do something. It is definitely a time for us to say, this is Rotary's moment. This is what Rotary does. And we need to make sure that we are taking that positive spirit. We are continuing our work in the communities that we normally have, and that we keep going forward. So thank you, Jeff. A faraway thanks to Ravi, both for reminding us that there is much more that we can do than there is that we can't do. So right this minute, I'm going to let everybody, it's 10:45. We're going to take a little short break, let's say 5 minutes. So come back around 10:50. And I will talk with Vincent and see if we've solved our technical difficulties with our third segment. And then we will let you know what's going to happen next. So thank you everyone for being on here. It's a fabulous group. Take yourselves off mute and talk to each other while you're taking that 5-minute break. I'm out of coffee, so I'm going upstairs. Thanks.
Hey Jeff, can I ask you if it's okay if you can put your email contact in the chat?
Oh, yes, thank you.
There's lots of us that would love you to, if you can, drop into our meetings and talk to our clubs. That was a great presentation. Thank you.
Well, thanks, Benson. Yeah, I'd be more than happy to. I'll go you one better. I'll put my email and my direct office phone number so you guys can reach out to me.
Ooh, all right. Hey.
Okay.
Now, since we're all working from home at World Headquarters, this is actually my cell phone number too, because it gets forwarded.
All
Get
right.
24 hours a day. How's that for service?
Thank you. He
Okay,
already
well,
talked to our club, but he didn't give us his private number yet.
yeah. Well, we're only 4 hours difference, Jeff, so no problem. Only 4 hours difference.
I thought it was 6. I don't know what it is.
Well,
It's actually 5 Central Time.
Five
Oh,
Central Time. Okay.
But
five.
it's always a panic for me when I have to talk with all of you because I got to remember that it's 5 hours. It screws me up every time.
So when's the time change? I mean, when are we springing back or going forward or something like that? November 1 or something?
Something like that. Yeah, I can't remember the exact date right now.
Forward, fall back.
Okay.
Fall back.
Fall back. So that will be 4
Bring
hours.
forward, fall back.
Right.
Fall back, right? Okay.
I'm still
And
going
that
to
is, I don't know.
Thanks, Jeff. That's great.
My pleasure. And yeah, I'm happy to do club visits if you guys are meeting on Zoom still, which I think all of you are.
You pretty much.
More than happy to schedule something.
Okay, great. Thanks a lot, Jeff. Appreciate it.
My absolute pleasure. And if there's any requests for club visits and you want me to show you that video of the hula dancers, the President Kanak, be more than happy to show that too.
when people come.
Okay, great.
Jeff, Charlene Myers.
Hi.
You called me. Hi. You called me
how are you? Good to
earlier
see
this
you.
week.
That's lovely. Yeah, I'm so glad to put a face to the name.
Exactly. I feel the same way. Thank you.
Thank you. I really appreciated our conversation. It was one of the highlights of my week for sure.
It was
and
fun. Thank
This
you.
is probably a great venue, since we have so many people on the call, for everybody to congratulate Charlene and Amos, because they were
Aw.
awarded their major donor level 2 at their club meeting yesterday.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you.
And also, wait, hat.
And also,
White hat,
White
level
hat.
2.
That's right.
Level 2.
She's now beat her sponsor out. There you go.
Oh, daylight savings time ends November 1.
Okay.
Thanks, Roy.
Thanks, Roy.
Benson,
So
I'm
then we're only 4 hours difference.
I'm going to give this a try, Benson, and see where we go. So
Okay.
All right.
Jeff, can you hang on, Jeff? We're going to have Q&A after everyone comes back with you. If you would take questions, Jeff.
Sure thing, Naomi. Yeah, I would love to hang out with you a little bit longer for sure.
Thank you. Okay, thanks.
Instant, no audio?
Yeah, no, look, it looks good. We're getting the audio. Looks good.
You say there's no audio?
Yeah, we got the audio. Looks good.
Okay, good. I don't have audio. All right.
Oh no, we heard it loud and clear.
Okay, good.
Okay, let me. I'm gonna take your thing down here. Let's see. Okay. Okay, Gwen. Looks
Okay.
like teed up and good. Good shape.
All right.
Did we check the video? Is the video link working too?
What's that?
You have a video and a PowerPoint, right?
Yeah, the video.
The video is in the PowerPoint.
Okay. So it's working, right? Okay.
As it said, it's working.
We're gonna find out. We're gonna find out.
I want to pass something on to you. We were talking about daylight savings time. And of course, Hawaii doesn't change.
Yes.
Amos and I moved to the only other state that doesn't change, Arizona.
All right.
All right.
We're consistent.
Yeah.
Okay. I have my coffee. Are our people back yet?
Yes.
Hopefully. Very good. Thank you very much for letting me get. And unfortunately, of course, you know, when my coffee cup ran empty, my brain went with it. And so I forgot to ask if we have questions for Jeff, because we have a few minutes to allow him some questions. So unmute yourself and feel free to ask Jeff anything you wanted to know other than his address that he's already given you.
As people are thinking of their questions, I'll thank Ravi for opening up for me today. This is the second district training that I've done in a row where he's opened up for me and warmed up the crowd. So it's
hard to say. It's
an honor and a privilege.
I told him he's reached star status. He's got Ravi opening up for him every time.
Right. That's right.
Okay, well, we all know where Jeff is, and so anything that you have, any questions that you have, reach out to him. He is one of the many people at Rotary International to support us, right? Okay, so Benson and Wynn, are we okay or not?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, Wynn's on and he's ready to roll.
In that case, let me introduce past District Governor Wynn Schoeneman, who's going to tell you a little bit about the how, which is how the Rotary Foundation helps to impact lives.
Well, thank you everybody for being here this morning. It's impressive to see 50 people on the Zoom this morning on a bright sunny Saturday morning. When Laura asked me to do the how, it came from two different perspectives: how we're doing with the foundation, but also kind of how we're doing with service. And it really brought to my mind warm thoughts about Kahawiki, a project that was started when Nalani was district governor, and all of the Rotarians here on Oahu coming together in the spirit of service and doing that project. And as we wrapped up phase one, my Rotary Club meets in the Waikiki Yacht Club, and I live here in Aiea. And I was driving from Aiea to the Waikiki Rotary Club one evening, and my first memory that people were actually at Kahawiki was when I saw laundry floating in the breeze. And it was a very poignant moment for me in knowing that we had really done something significant there. So I wanted to start out with a little video. So hopefully the audio goes. That was the problem this morning. I hope you enjoyed that. It was a lot of fun for me, and to a certain extent, really enlightening to go back through some of the pictures that I have and stuff that we have available to us. That really highlights all of the things that our members are doing, and really truly inspiring, I think, to look at what's going on during this lockdown of the last 6 months. The amount of service that is still going on in food banks and in putting together things that people need for sanitation, the $25,000 in emergency funding from Rotary that went to all of the islands that help with putting together PPE and all of the things that we've been doing. I think that we need to really acknowledge, especially the young ones. I was looking at the E-Club in particular, and the things they're doing in an amazing fashion communities. So foundation giving, the part of the how, what funds our projects, how have we done in the last 3 years? So 913,000 or 914,000 to the annual fund, and a little over $250,000 into Polio Plus. We haven't given so much to the endowment. That's been a little bit of a challenge, and we're trying to focus a little bit on that this year. But very generous Rotarians in our community. I think sometimes we don't give ourselves enough credit for the huge impact and the amount of money that we give. So in the last 3 years, a little over $1.25 million, really significant. I had no idea myself that it was really that much. Foundation contributions, obviously the annual fund is what runs our projects in the district. So this just kind of graphically shows you what we contribute. Comes back to us, 535,000 ballpark figure in DDF. Of course, a little over $250,000 our clubs have invested in our communities in terms of the DDF that they've had available to them. And they certainly leverage that very, very well to do huge things in our community. Where in the world are we at? What are we doing around the world? We're in over here. I don't know if my cursor shows up here, but yes, it does. So in Bolivia, Hanalei Bay, working with educational and school project in Bolivia. We're over here in Malawi and Uganda and Tanzania. Of course, I'm very familiar with Romania. Southeast Asia, Bangladesh, Bhutan, Nepal, India, telemedicine and eye clinics in India, the Philippines, Bali, the Philippines. We've got Japan. We're doing a project or preparing to do a project in radiation areas in Japan. So really, Taiwan even. So really significant. I don't know of a district that is doing this much, having done this much, or planning to do this much in a global sense. Many of our clubs are really clued into. And of course, we have a couple of project fairs that I know of that are getting ready to come online. So if there's interest in Rotarians, email me about the project fairs, or Laura or Mark Harbison. I know that there's a project fair that's supposed to start up in Western Africa. So what are we doing in Hawaii? You know what? There is so much going on, even during COVID. All of our clubs have projects going on, even with the lockdown and that kind of stuff. Food banks, are of particular interest and of particular need. PPE is kind of taken up a backstage at the moment, but certainly we responded in dramatic fashion to the needs for PPE, especially in homeless communities and with some of our medical service providers. Anybody have any questions? Well, thank you. I don't see any questions. I can stop the share. Laura, you're muted. Laura, you're muted.
Muted myself again, right?
I know, right?
I always double click. I haven't learned to not double click, you know.
I know, right?
Anyway, Mark Harbison just chimed in that we have 82 district grants that are just getting started. We did get the $25,000 Rotary District Disaster Response Grant. That money is all out to the clubs, and they are working on it. One club, at least one club on each island is working on something. So make sure that you find out about that, take lots of photos, we get it going. I did chime in to everybody that I had asked Wynn, and this is like a week and a half ago, to put together a video, and he has been working on it diligently, God bless him. And this is something we want to keep going, because I think that not everybody has any idea of all of the things that we do in this district through the foundation and through our work. So I haven't asked Naomi's permission yet, so we'll see if she throws something at me through the screen. But we want to keep building this video so that at the district conference, we can have it, if nothing else, in the House of Friendship, just on a loop, so that people can come by and see an hour and a half of video with just things that Hawaii has, project clubs in Hawaii have done, both locally and internationally. Right.
We've got to get them to change the copyright law so that we can use music or background music that is more suitable to our style. We can get Benson to play something or something. I don't know. Yeah, right. They wouldn't let me. They wouldn't let me choose the music. They said no, you have to use ours.
I don't care about the technical stuff. That's it. I only look at the output. Anyway, but if you didn't see your favorite project up there already, please do send us those photos or those videos, and we will keep building it. I also, are you sure you don't have any questions of any of our presenters today? We have 30 minutes worth of questions and answers.
But you know, we have done in the district, I mean, some really significant projects, whether it's the Boys and Girls Club basketball courts, the parks, Kahawiki. I mean, just some, you know, phenomenal things locally, and what our Rotarians do around the world just is is exciting as all get out. It should inspire everybody to give more.
And I just wanted to share when I was after Ravi's presentation. And for those of you who didn't see it, we will put it on the website, because I think it's just amazing what he has put together. But one of the videos in the video that flashed by there, John and I were fortunate enough to be Ravi and Vanathi's aides when he came to Hawaii. And for those of you who don't remember, he, July 1st, 2015, was his first day of official duties as the Rotary International President. And he was here in Hawaii to celebrate with the Rotary Club of Honolulu and District 5000 the 100th anniversary. And what people don't realize is that he got off the plane and he was sick as a dog. This poor man had a fever. He had been fighting this thing for 3 or 4 days. Vanathi said he was almost to the point where he was afraid he was going to have to cancel. And he said, no, I will not cancel. I will be here. And he showed up at every event. And when we got to the Boys and Girls Club, so that beautiful picture of him there in the puppet theater with the kids, with his sock puppet, they put on a show for us. And he ran up and down the gym with the kids from the Boys and Girls Club and made such an incredible impression on them. But he made more of an impression on me because I knew the backstory. And from that day forward, I have always considered him one of my favorite Rotary International presidents because I do know that word that he used, his kindness. And he always thinks of other people first. So he was going to be here and he was going to do it, and by gosh, he did. So I really was happy that he didn't resign immediately as president and say, I can't do this. But no, after visiting Hawaii, he loved it, and he hopes he'll be able to come back in person again someday really, really soon. The other thing he shared, and that I'll also share with you because we all get to share our Rotary stories on World Polio Day, which is coming up on October the 24th. But when John and I went with Hal and Leigh Darcy and several other people from Hawaii to India on our very first NID, we were we were in Mumbai, and we were giving the drops, and you know, it was chaotic like it always is, but it was great fun, and you really, it makes an impression on you. But I noticed that there was this group of 6 or 8 men, they were all men, who were also giving the drops and were talking to people and everything like that. And so the president of the Rotary Club of Mumbai that year was a woman. So it was a really big time for them. And we were talking about it, and I said, so who's this other group? And she said, oh, that group of Rotarians is from Pakistan. And what people didn't remember at that time, India and Pakistan were actively at war, fighting and shooting at each other. But this group of Rotarians didn't believe that it was the right thing to do. And so they came to Mumbai to help immunize children. And that was when I first began to realize that there's a chance for peace in the world. So we can't give up. We have to just keep going to eradicate polio and to achieve that peace. Okay, so that's my 5-minute filler. If nobody else has anything exciting that you want to contribute, then I will remind everybody that next week, so Benson and Naomi, is it going to be on the same BAT channel as this one? Same Zoom link and everything?
Yes.
Okay, so every Saturday it will be the same phone number, the same Zoom link.
Yeah.
Next week, we go deeper into the Rotary Foundation. So Jeff and Wynn just kind of skimmed over the top. Next week, you'll get to have Rich Zigar and Wynn back again. And we have Roz Cooper and we have Dave Mosdrin, who are going to tell you more about the foundation and how it works, and suggestions to actually use in your foundation planning at the clubs and fundraising activities for polio. The week after that is all featuring just Polio Plus. So Rich Corson will be on with his whole team, and we'll talk about fundraising ideas for World Polio Day. And then the week after that is most important for the clubs and for the presidents-elect coming up. It will be club qualification, and Mark Harbison will be on talking about global grants, and Dave Hamill will be on talking about district grants. So more foundation than you ever wanted to know. Say thank you, Naomi and Benson.
Yeah.
Now, thank you, Naomi.
I think Charlene had a comment or a question.
Oh, okay, great. Yes, Charlene.
Actually, I had a memory to share. Del Green and Many of you I know were at the foundation dinner when Riley was here in 2015, and I got to not only show and demonstrate him one of our mugs that we were doing for polio, which was the second year, and got to demonstrate for him and present him with a mug. So that's a very special memory for me too.
Yeah. So I hope all of you still have your mugs. If not, if you need to buy some, I know I still have some left. Dell, have you still got some left? Yeah, right. So we can still sell you some polio mugs if you want them.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have a whole box in my garage.
Oh, okay. All right.
We like it.
They don't do any good in your garage. Bring them
Right.
out.
We'll do a reprise.
And when I've actually had to reorder, because when Amos and I travel, which of course we're not doing this year, I take them and I talk to the president at the club, and I actually will auction off a mug at these different Rotary clubs, and then the money goes to polio. So it's still going on.
Great, great.
Oh,
Yeah.
to date, my highest that I've gotten for a mug is $110. Not
Woo!
bad.
All right, all right. Well done.
Yeah.
I'll have to treasure the ones I have. Thank you. Anybody
Hey, Laura,
else?
Laura,
Yeah.
can I say something? I just wanted to take a minute and sort of blow the horn for the East Hawaii group. You know, during Wind's year, we had that spectacular eruption that just came out of the
that's right.
Hawaii Island, and one of the things that it did is that it wiped out an entire charter school, Ku'okala, and their headmaster, who is now actually the co-president of the Pahoa Sunset Club, Susie Osborne, whenever you talk to her, she first thing out of her mouth says, well, Rotary saved our school.
Yep.
And I believe that because, you know, Win was there, he was on the ground, Randy was there on the ground. A lot of the guys that were on our screen today, you know, showed up to help out in that effort that got that school back up. And actually they only missed, I think, a couple of days of school because we were able to work through the entire summer. But you know, if you want to really see the impact of it, and that was, you know, my Rotary moment, working through the summer trying to get that school back up, and when those kids all showed back up again, just to see how excited they were to have their school back, or have a school back that they could come to. That was just a life-changing experience, and I know that everybody probably on the screen has something like that where they can share, but you know, when you can see it, I mean, it's great to see all the numbers and everything, and that's wonderful to have all that. But when you see it right in the faces of those kids, then that's what seals it in permanently for you. And I think that's the piece that it's hard to bring that across in a PowerPoint or a video. But man, if you have a chance to be on there's something, and I think either Mark Maloney said it or maybe Holger said it. He says, whenever there's good in the world, that Rotary, and I absolutely believe that 100%. So thanks.
Oh, thank you for sharing that, Vincent. That's great. Actually, if anybody else, I mean, we still do have, 10 minutes. If anybody else wants to share stories, this is a beautiful time to do it.
Yeah. Okay.
Oh, see, now I put them on the spot. That's it, right? Okay, well, listen, it is absolutely wonderful having all of you join us. Again, I hope you can come back again for some of the more in-depth kind of presentations that we will have. Robbie's presentation will be up at Rotary District 5000, and I do hope that that everybody will utilize it as much as possible. Naomi, who have you got there?
Yeah.
Naomi, what are you doing?
Yeah, Naomi's got a new.
Robbie.
Oh,
That's
very
Laura,
good.
that's the
Robbie
mug.
and Charlene and the mug.
The mug.
All right. Okay. Yeah, we got to get that in the video and on the website. Oh, by the way, Naomi
Thanks,
is putting
Naomi.
Naomi is putting an incredible photo album on the website. And Sonia is working on a video for the National Immunization Days. So be sure and send Sonia any video or any photos that you have from for National Immunization Days, because we all know that, as Benson said, numbers don't make an impact nearly the way a picture does, which will bring back the memory of having been there. So Sonia, did you want to say something?
Yes. If you have a smartphone and you're able to make a video of yourself talking about your experience going on an NID, you know, certainly make one. Like Laura said, there's nothing like hearing it from a person and getting their firsthand experience and what it meant to them emotionally, and to see the impact of what our foundation dollars do for polio NIDs, or anything that you've done in regards to the foundation. Video yourself like for about anywhere from 40 to 55 minutes. Try to keep it
No,
under,
not minutes.
Seconds.
Not minutes, seconds. 40 to 50 seconds. And try to keep it under a minute. And then we're going to send it over to this really bright young man named Jay Baptista, who's a student. He's a Rotary student, and he's a student at Yale, and he's a part of the polio planning committee. So he's one of those unbelievably young, bright
young
that, you know, they just know how to do it really fast. So he's doing that for us. Okay, so we really need those videos or photos, or, you know, just something so that we can, you know, really get your story out as to why you give to the Rotary Foundation and what it has meant to the millions of people out there who have benefited from the Rotary Foundation.
Great, thanks, Sonia. So Roz, we haven't heard from you. Did you want to chime in at all? No,
Oh, got there you go.
There you are.
I was making notes for what we're going to be doing next week. But it's been great supporting the Rotary Foundation over the years, and that's something that we continue to do. And I'm looking forward to everyone's comments about why you continue to give to the foundation and the projects that you're participating in, and all of the NIDs you've been on as well, because I've seen and met a lot of you on those National Immunization Days. So it's great seeing everyone here this morning as well.
Okay.
You guys notice Roz always sounds like she's in the middle of a party. I think it's because Roz is always in the middle of a party, no matter what her background says. Okay. Well, thank you all again so much for joining us. I hope you got something out of this. Thank you to all of you for everything that you do for the foundation, for Rotary, for the world. And go out there and remember to do good in the world. I know you will. Thank you very much.
Okay.